So I am going to be doing my think aloud to just probably the first two paragraphs of this, writing about one of my favorite artists, Hiwa Kei, who had an exhibition in the New Museum, as you can see, May 2nd through August 19th of 2018 in New York. And so this is a writer who wrote about that. And I chose this piece because I noticed that in the first two paragraphs especially that there were a lot of really good art words and like ways to look at art through like sort of a transdisciplinary lens. Okay, so this is going to be hard because I'm holding my phone, so please excuse the jumbliness. Okay. In the darkened space of the new museum's first floor gallery, so they're bringing us into a gallery, so we're gonna feel like we're there, with exposed drywall, bricks, and pipes. Okay, so first right here we see that the gallery has exposed drywall, bricks, and pipes. Therefore, this gallery is what we would call a raw space of sorts. A raw space just means it's not like fully finished. One encounters the Iraqi Kurdish artist Hiwa Kei's first major U.S. solo exhibition, Blind as the Mother Tongue. So that's a pretty big sentence and there's a lot of information in there. So one thing I think that we can say is that Hiwa Kei is an artist, and that he's having his first major exhibition, first U.S. exhibition in New York. I'm going to say art show because it's just easier, because an exhibition is an art show in New York. Okay. Now, some things that I can infer, because he is Iraqi and Kurdish. So, and the Kurds were a marginalized group in Iraq. Saddam Hussein, actually part of the reason that we went to the Gulf War the first time that we went there was because, George Bush Sr. was saying that Saddam Hussein was hurting the Kurds, like he was exterminating the Kurds. So we know that the Iraqi government is not happy with the Kurds. So he's of a minority party, so he may have feelings of alienation because he's feeling alienated by his government. Okay. And then the title of his art, and we can see that because it's in italics, Blind as the Mother Tongue. I'm going to actually go past that because I think titles are a whole nother ball of wax that I think it would be a good idea to read the whole piece and see the art before we talked about that. Okay, the carefully curated exhibit, which means, carefully curated. Curated means put together. Curated, I'm just going to put a little thing here that says put together, so we can remember that if something's curated, it's like different things are put together. Centered around 5 videos, accompanied by photographs, vinyl drawings, sketches, and sculptures. Okay, so this is a mixed media installation. And an installation is just the difference between like a sculpture and an installation is that an installation is often meant to be experienced. It's not something that you could like purchase and put in your living room. It usually has a lot of mini parts. It's usually centered around a very big idea instead of like sort of like a decorative object. But an installation is big. Just think of it as big. Okay. Where did I write that? Okay, photograph, sculptures. Okay, I'm going to actually put that there so that we know that we're talking about mixed media. Okay, is an introduction to the absurdist artist. Now, absurdist might be something that some people, maybe in literature, whatever, heard. Absurdist, somebody who's absurdist is just like basically intentionally absurd or surreal or bizarre. So if somebody is an absurdist artist, then they are trying to be provocative, right? They're trying to provoke a feeling by being over the top. Who self-describes as both a materialist and a conceptualist. Okay, materialist is somebody, a materialist artist is somebody who delights in using their materials, right? And their materials actually have a point of the art itself. Like somebody who, oftentimes when somebody is a conceptual artist, they will use very specific materials because the materials themselves say something. And a conceptualist. Okay, a conceptualist is somebody who is very interested in big ideas, right? So it would make sense that somebody who's interested in big ideas would be a materialist, or that somebody who's a materialist is a conceptualist. Okay, who self-describes as both a materialist and conceptualist sculptor. So he doesn't paint or draw, he makes three-dimensional objects. And also as a traditional Marxist, okay, so I'm going to make some sort of inference, knowing that Marxism is a left-leaning, on the political spectrum. It's very left-leaning on the political spectrum. It's right there. I'm not entirely sure if Marxism is socialism, but I know that they're pretty darn close to each other. Okay, so whose political ideologies, so political ideas, have been contradicted by the nuances of Middle East history. So his Marxist ideas have been contradicted by the nuances of Middle East history. So Middle East history, I don't know a lot about it. What I know about it is very limited, but I do know that it is very rich. It's very ornate. There's a lot of, kings and queens, they're not called kings and queens, but it's a much more sort of royal. It has a royal history. So that is in direct contradiction with his Marxism. So we can already tell by looking just at this one paragraph that Hiwake, who is Kurdish, which is a minority group in Iraq, so he's already he's already alienated. His art is absurdist. And it's materialist and conceptual. Therefore, he's interested in big ideas and what materials themselves have to say. And to make things a little bit more interesting, he is a socialist in a society that tends to be somewhat royal. So we're already kind of set up for something that is going to be very interesting.